used to have like customer support be, 3 people, try to make it as cheap as possible and outsource
How many tickets do they close? Yeah.
Now the entire team does customer support.
That's
all of our
huge.
engineers, all the co-founders, everyone does customer support. And we do these customer support power hours, what we call them. So it's about 1 to 2 hours once a week. You get together with like 5 people and you all just like hammer away and like support customers and share information, share learnings. And that's been huge for us.
Ignition sequence start. 3, 2, 1.
Dave, we are live, man. How's it going?
Oh, well. Good
Dude,
to be here.
Proof launched at TNC. We're at TNC.
Yeah.
2 years ago.
2 years ago to the day.
We're talking launch, scale, YC, fundraise, 2 years.
It's been a crazy couple of years.
Dude, that's amazing. And how big's the team now?
We have 16 right now.
Yeah.
15
All in Austin?
all full-time in Austin. One guy in the Philippines holding down the nighttime support for us.
That's good, man. So you get that full support.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest thing so far? And I know there's always going to be bigger challenges. I know you guys are working on a kind of a product suite, but like mine is kind of like just trying to get the product to have bigger impact, et cetera. What's been the hardest part so far?
I think the first year we had Proof was incredibly easy. It was like every day we're growing, like $1,000 MRR added, $3,000 MRR added.
Was
every
that
day, like,
because you had a built-in customer base though? Like, do you feel like in the early days, if you've done marketing or are known to some degree, you kind of like, it's like pulling the low-hanging fruit.
Totally helps.
And it's almost sometimes a false sense of what's possible.
Yeah.
And then you kind of, that goes away. I know that's true
Yeah.
for Facebook ads all the time.
Yeah,
You start
yeah.
at Facebook, it's like crushing it. And then all of a sudden the return on ad spend goes down because you kind of sucked all the early opportunity out. So that was the way you kicked off. And then how did that?
Yeah, so we launched with a webinar to like our list and sold a bunch of, prepaid yearly plans from that. Then I think it was just the right
So you
product at
pre-sold?
the right time. Yeah, we pre-sold before the product was built.
Well, how much did you sell pre-sale?
A year for $997.
Yeah.
Did I think I just watched Ryan Levesque's webinar.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, I'm
On the
do
Founder
that.
Circle?
Yeah.
His bucket.io?
Yeah.
Dude, that's what I worked with him on. Yeah.
I think
Did
we
you
were
guys, but did you launch after his?
I think we were after him.
Man, I feel like it must have been pretty,
I think it was like 5 months after him maybe that we did that. But yeah,
Okay.
the product wasn't built yet. So we pre-sell it, $997. And then I tell them on the webinar, but it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
Because they were all hyped up. They're
Oh,
like,
you
ready,
actually
like-
got into the point on the webinar where they're like, yeah.
Oh, dude, we were
I'm
hyped.
in. Take
I was,
my
like,
credit
showing
card.
some
Take my
case
credit card.
studies. I'm like,
I'm
this
in,
is like
in.
Oh, totally. And then I
Oh,
was
you
like,
had case studies. So they're like, oh, this thing's ready to rock.
Yeah, because I just used it with like a couple friends,
Yeah.
That's where it kind of helps to be in the market too. Because I just like called up my buddies like, hey, you're running a webinar. Can I like install this thing on your site for you and like see if it works? And so like I've got like 3 or 4 things where this is working. And I was like, but it's not gonna be ready for like 2 months. And you got to pay today.
Yeah.
I ended up having like 40.
I love
40
$997.
people.
So that's good. Good price point. And you
Yeah,
pre-sold
yeah.
how much?
I think we got about 40 people in.
Okay. So 40,000.
40K comes in,
Yeah.
which was awesome.
Yeah.
Allowed us to just focus on that product, validated it.
And did you
launched
already
it
have a
from there.
developer lined up?
So we had my co-founder JP is a developer, and he had built
Super
the
valuable to
MVP.
have,
Yeah, and then
tech
we
guy.
had one other guy that we'd hired through TopTal that was working on it with us. Yeah.
So pretty much anybody that's seen some notification on a browser about a subscriber, a purchase, etc., that's Proof. That
Yeah.
was like the big thing. And you saw it because you guys were doing your own marketing funnels and added that as kind of an idea,
Yeah.
and it just all of a sudden increased conversions.
Yeah, we saw it like Airbnb using live social proof.
I saw it on bookings.com.
Booking.com.
Yeah.
That's the first place
that was
I
the first
saw
time
it.
I saw it. Yeah.
And I was talking with an investor that was on their board, and he said that they like actually created it like in 2002. They kind of like were the first people to do
Wow.
that. Just internally. I thought that
Yeah,
was pretty
yeah,
cool. I saw it on there, and it like worked for me. And I was like, we need this for our funnel, for our order form. And so we, in 1 week, kind of built a little MVP, put it on there. We're like, we hope this works. We don't know if it will. And we saw our order form conversion rate go from 19% to 42%.
Dude.
We were like, that's crazy. Like, I wonder if this will work on other people. So we kind of rolled it out. The whole time we were
Did people ask? Is that how you knew you had something? Like, were they seeing it and going, yo, guys, what is this?
It wasn't so much that. We just, our friends tried it out, and they all had
Got
great
results.
conversion rates from that. And that's when we were like, okay, this isn't just for us to like sling courses a little faster. It was like, maybe this is the product. And so
Were you always software curious? That's the word I use.
Yeah. So that was like back in the day through the foundation, like Dane Max on those guys, like 5 years. That's how I got my start.
And what
Built
was
a
the
little
idea
software.
then? What was the?
It was a fraternity recruitment software called Redwood Recruiting, which was just horrible. I spent like $11,000,
Dude,
like all
the
my
amount
money
of-
on
yeah.
Upwork, getting this thing built out,
Yeah.
opened up the doors.
Nothing. Crickets.
Nothing. Yeah, I just didn't
Yeah.
know anything.
Yeah.
So it was just, I just was not the right person.
Yeah,
But switching to consulting,
you
I needed
learn,
cash.
Yeah, you learn how to get stuff built. You learn how to think of product and obviously solving problems. That
Yeah.
probably a
I
little
mean,
bit
I learned
more.
a lot more with that $11,000 education than $40,000 at college.
100%,
So
man.
it was like, it was a pretty cheap education, honestly.
Yeah. So what was the hard part? Sorry, I can go off in different tangents. What was the hardest part so far? I mean, you launched.
Okay, yeah. So year one, awesome. We're growing. I'm like confident. I think I'm the best CEO in the world. Then things start to slow down a little bit. We can't quite tackle.
Is this
churn.
post YC?
This was like right around when we got into YC.
Okay.
Just like, churn. We had high churn problems.
High was what, 18, 12?
Dude, at one point, yeah, it was like 18%.
Yeah.
We've more than cut that in
every
half.
6 months you lose all your
Yeah,
customers.
we've more than cut that in half, but it's still not
Still high.
We're still not where we need it to
Yeah.
be. So I think it's just been this like we've placed these bets. Said, okay, we think this is going to help fix that.
Yeah.
Knocks down a little bit, but not enough. We think
Yeah.
this is going to fix that, not enough. And it's like just enough bets in a row haven't gone exactly how we've wanted to. And that's hard because it's like, we feel like we're smart guys. We're talking to customers. We're trying to do all the right things, but like still not
It's
getting
not
it
getting
enough.
the
It's not getting
result.
enough.
Yeah.
And I think that's been like what the sleepless nights have been, is laying in bed thinking like, what do we need to do? Like that's not working right now.
This is to me is why I think tech entrepreneurship is so tough, because it really is two things that need to be figured out. Like if I open up a sushi restaurant, I can assume people are going to eat sushi if there's other sushi restaurants. But if you're building innovation, not only do people really want this problem solved, but then it's like, do they want it solved the way you're solving it,
Yeah.
right? And even in that kind of Venn overlap, are they going to stick around economically to allow you to build the business you need? Because if they're churning or if they're not investing at the level you need to actually build the business,
Totally.
it's frustrating. Have you felt the pressure of being a YC-backed company to grow? Like if you didn't, so, people always ask like, what's the difference with raising money or not? I've shared my thoughts on it, but do you feel that because you've decided to do that, there is this expectation of grow, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't think we really feel that. We certainly don't feel that from investors. When we raised a seed round, it's
Yeah.
pretty like hands off. I've got a few investors I'm kind of chatting with, but like
Yeah.
no one really is pressuring me.
No, they're
there.
going to give you time to figure it out.
Maybe some like internal pressure of just we want to build. We know
You
the companies
personally.
we look at and we
Yeah.
say we really want to figure that out. Like
Yeah.
how do we do that? So maybe some of that, but I haven't felt outside pressure really on doing this.
What are some of the highs you've had so far about building the business? Like when you look back the last 2 years, what are those proudest moments?
Yeah, I mean.
Was Demo Day a big deal?
Demo Day was awesome.
cool, man.
Yeah. Demo Day was awesome. And like the week after you pitch at YC, we raised like $2 million in a week, like all inbound.
Yeah.
Like that kind of makes it really
But
easy.
I mean, I don't know. Like I'll never forget. I'm small town Eastern Canadian guy, and show up in San Francisco. And I think it was in the first few weeks there was a Demo Day, and in line, and I stand next to Michael Arrington from TechCrunch, and he asked me what I did, and I was just in like shock.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I just, you're from Maryland, and tried doing a startup, through Dane stuff. And now all of a sudden you're at YC Demo Day, which is, the Harvard of accelerators.
It was exciting. I think it helped
Yeah.
us realize like we can play on the level with anybody.
I think that's probably the biggest lesson of being around that talent, is just not feeling like I always assumed that there was, I never went to university or don't feel like, I have any special brilliance. And I always thought like literally these people are probably like geniuses. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you meet them and you're like, oh, they're really creative and smart, but there's nothing unique.
Yeah.
How much of that, because you've met these founders, do you think is product timing, luck not luck, but just they're in the market versus like just pure brilliance? Because like you said, people can do the things to do, and everybody will say you should do it. But how much of that is that in regards to the right process versus just you got a good market and you've got the timing right?
Yeah. I mean, I think a lot of it is like the right timing and just some like luck, just some like you happen to have the right, like I think that with Proof, honestly, just to the degree we got here, it's like it was kind of like the right product that was like very viral at the right time, and I kind of did the right thing. I couldn't start some
collaboration
project
tool.
management tool and do the same thing.
That doesn't have the viral distribution of the pop-up on a website.
And it was like we were like early to the market, and so people hadn't seen this before. So it was like all these like forces together kind of like blew it up. That I couldn't launch Proof today and do the same thing because there'd be these other competitors already in the market. We'd be 50th.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the people at Y Combinator, are very, very intelligent, very book smart. Like I think I was one of the, probably on paper like dumbest guys there.
Okay.
But I also think I was one of the better like entrepreneurs there.
Yeah. Aggressive.
I just knew how to like do it. I've been doing it. Where people are like just like in Harvard and they're dropping out. Or they're
many of them wouldn't do it if they didn't get the funding. Or I have a bias towards a lot of accelerators because I think they take people that are not risk takers.
Yeah.
And the market resets or there's no funding. They wouldn't have started the businesses in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so much of it is like just can you show up every day forever and like keep coming back and sawing wood? We're
Tenacity.
like some of these people have already like quit their companies, in the last year.
It got hard.
It just got hard and you can figure it out. And it's like it's super hard for us, but I'm just like
Not
back's
stopping.
against the wall. Like I'm just gonna do this. I've been doing this. I know how to like ride the roller coaster. I know how to do that emotionally.
Yeah.
And it still sucks. But like I'm not gonna not show up tomorrow and like
What do you do to manage that emotional roller coaster for yourself? Like what are some of those rituals, habits, routines?
I'm not great at it.
Yeah.
At my worst, it's just Netflix.
Yeah.
You come home.
No, I mean,
throw in
that's
some headphones. You're
Yeah,
like, I'm just
that's
gonna numb
legit.
out.
Yeah. It's almost like I can't do anything productive, so I'd rather not do anything destructive.
Yeah,
'Cause
totally.
We all know that. Like,
Uh-huh.
My team knows if I don't eat before our team meetings is not a good spot.
Yeah.
Just even like that level of like the cadence of a day or whatever. So when you get into kind of a bad headspace, you just give yourself the permission to watch Netflix.
Sometimes, I say a lot of it, I got my two co-founders. We're great friends. Sometimes it's kind of like you got to step back and kind of have the conversation, it's almost like the parents. It's like, we're just going to talk together about how hard things are. And that feels really good. And there's a lot of support there. And it's like, if you all kind of say this
How long
kind of
have you
sucks.
known your co-founder for?
So I got two co-founders, JP and Chris, and
Yeah.
we've been together for 5 years now.
Okay, so even before Proof started.
Yeah, so we've run like all of our companies from the beginning together.
Got it.
Kind of
And when you're down, are they ever up and vice versa?
it's almost always that. It's almost always one person's down, two people are up, two people are down, one person's up. It's like never like all three down.
If you had to kind of crystallize what's the value of a co-founder, what would you say those things are? And it doesn't mean you need one.
Yeah,
But if you
I
did
love
say,
them. I need one. I really like it.
Yeah.
And I just think there's something really special in that relationship, kind of that brotherhood, that we kind of have. But I think a lot of it's just like support, just being able to bounce ideas off each other and be able to just be like super honest and super real. And like we've grown a lot in our relationship and just communicating very honestly with each other, but in love. And like our families are like growing closer together. We're like raising our kids together. And there's just like this whole, it's just awesome being in a relationship, with people. And I think, the co-founders, it's just you got each other's backs.
if one of them wasn't performing, how hard would it be for you to have to cut them loose? Like, let's say you like skyrocket, because this is usually what happens. The business takes off, and all of a sudden now people just can't keep up. Mm-hmm. Not to say that they have to leave the company. I mean, would that be soul crushing?
Yeah, and we've already talked through situations like that. Really, honestly, it's been like any one of the three of us is like not
Even yourself. You're up for it.
It's even like not advanced. It's like there's been times the guys be like, "Hey, Dave, we need you like stepping up and like growing as a CEO."
Oh,
'Cause, like, it's
really?
new for me, and so it's like we all kind of are sharpening each other. And I think I don't know. We're definitely aware that like co-founder relationships can get very strained, and we all have to really advance.
I think it's one of the main reasons companies fight is just co-founder infight, or don't grow because of co-founder infighting, especially on product decisions, especially when things aren't going as well, because everybody's got, me and my co-founder, Ethan, it got to the point where he wanted to go SMB, I wanted to go enterprise, and we had to essentially like call a bet, run an experiment for 2 weeks, and use that with our we told our investors, like, here's the two decisions. Mm-hmm. We both think they're good. I obviously thought the enterprise was the better decision because SMB are freaking pain in the ass.
Did you win?
Yes, I did win. And he had to take me to Jay-Z and Eminem did this, like these two concert. Anyway, so he had to pay. So that was an awesome outcome. But I could see if we didn't have a healthy way of getting through that, it could have been the end of the company. Because these are big decisions.
I think for us, I don't know what other people do, but we definitely, at the end of the day, like I'm the CEO, the guys trust me. I got the same amount of equity as them, but like my job, my my day job is be the CEO of the company. And so
Yeah.
like ultimately like they're going to look to me to make the decision. And that's worked so far for us, which has been good. But we kind of had to have that conversation a few years ago where it was just like, who's in charge? Like who ultimately makes that decision? Like we can't just be these like three buddies. Like we gotta run a company. And I think that was like really healthy. I think it gave me the freedom to step up and become that leader because I was always timid. You know, it's like, I don't want to step on your toes. I don't know if you're looking to me. It's like when they were like,
Do you feel like
Dave, we
that's a
want you to
big
lead.
part of your personality that's grown, is just maybe decisiveness or clear communicator,
Yeah.
quicker to make you know what I mean? Is that
Totally.
like that's the
I mean, I
thing
think
that-
that's kind of naturally who I am, but it hasn't been like fully developed or hasn't
that's
been developed as much as
interesting.
it is
So you're
now.
saying it might have always been there, but
I think
now,
it was always there,
you
but I think
give
even just
yourself
having the permission for myself, from
Huge.
them, and just being put in a place where it's like I got to come and like, you know, not just be this like nice guy, but like I got to like go kick some ass and like make
Yeah.
tough decisions and like drive the
But
company.
it's funny how like even words. So you know, so Jarrett, who's sitting back there, videographer and one of my best buds, you know, he jokingly uses words like, "I got to hire myself a grunt worker." You know, it's like even in your what you just said, like I can't be the nice guy. It's dangerous because it's not what you're saying. You're just saying I got to be more direct. I got to be quicker. And I'm like, Jared, I don't think anybody wants to work for you if you call him a grunt worker.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
just throwing that out there. But it's really, I think at scale, it's, you know, a belief that I have is the companies that can grow leaders the fastest grow the fastest, right? And it's really, and the first leader is you.
Yeah.
You know. How have you been able to develop yourself then to get to that? And maybe, and like you said, I've always been this way. I just gave myself permission to do it more. What gave you permission?
Yeah. I think I've had to add on a lot of these skills. So I guess I was not like naturally like who I am, you know, today. So I think I do that. You know, I read a ton of books. You know, I probably read 1 or 2 books a week. You know,
Oh,
on different
wow.
CEO
Audio?
and stuff.
Written? What-
A lot of audiobooks.
Yeah.
Just like 3 times.
I
a
had
week,
somebody
just
show me
crank
they
them.
listen while they read. They get the
Yeah,
audiobook. I've never
Austin-
done
our-
that.
our head of marketing
Yeah, Austin does that.
that.
I've never
And
done
he,
that.
like,
It makes
highlights
sense. Yeah, like listening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does that. You know, programs like, you know, yours and like working with you. Like I'm always kind of looking for like mentors to be like, hey, like you've done this. Like, how can I do this? And that's kind of why we even started our podcast. It was just like, I just want to get these people on because I am genuinely curious. I have
they've done it.
something to ask them personally.
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of shifted.
Selfish.
It's just kind of shifted from this like show to more like, hey, I'm just going to have a mentorship conversation here. You guys can record, but I'm going to kind of ask like whatever I'm looking for.
Questions you
I think
want.
it's been a better show.
better
because of
show.
that.
Way
It's just
better
like a better
show.
conversation. 'Cause
Yeah.
It's like, this is me genuinely just trying to
And
learn
you're
here.
open to like whatever challenges, which is, you know, more, there's more feeling. So that's the thing is like, especially, that's why I like this format. It's interview shows are so like, you feel the vibe. It's like giving a talk, right? Where there's like, oh, tell me your origin story and
Yeah.
and those are the 3 things. But I don't know, like I'm more interested in listening to a conversation.
Yeah.
So I love,
This is a good riff. This is
Yeah.
just kind of a good setup, I think.
Yeah. So books, mentors, it sounds like you give your team, your co-founders permission to hold you accountable, right? So
Yep.
you don't tell them to shut the F up if they,
Yeah.
like,
No,
hey, man, you
they're
can't
hard
talk to
on
me
me
that. Yeah, I'm the
sometimes.
boss. Can't talk to me that way.
And I've even had to honestly like help cultivate that. Like I didn't realize like as CEO, it's
Like a
really,
feedback
it's really
culture?
hard for people to give me feedback.
100%.
And I'm just like,
There's
just-
no
just
upside.
do it. Just suck it. Like, I'm not gonna let you like I want this, but I have to keep telling them. And even the co-founders, like, guys, I know I'm messing up all the time. Like I know it. I know I'm not that good at this. I know every day I'm trying to learn. Like you can just tell me.
Yeah.
Because I need to know.
Yeah.
And I think we've had to kind of cultivate that, you know, across our whole company, but particularly with people towards me, because I want to grow, I want to learn.
Yeah.
And that's been helpful to have people start to share
It's
that
one of
more and
those
more.
things, man, where it's like people hear it, but it's like there's no upside.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
why
like,
would
why
I
would
do
I?
that? Like, I just feel like it's not going to add anything to my life. It'll help you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like some of these new tools, like 15.5, and there's a bunch of these feedback, and you can do them anonymously to really get
Yep.
a 360 review.
And I have a tough time with those because I'm kind of like, we don't
You
need
wanna
do it-
know.
I'm like, we don't need to do it anonymously. Everybody
Yeah.
just like, I'm just like, just man up
Human
and just
nature,
do it.
man, they won't do it.
But then,
They won't do the
but then
honest
I've got people that are honestly saying, Dave,
Yeah.
you're wrong. People don't want to share feedback as much as you want them to. Like we need
Yeah.
to provide that space to do that. That's been good. So yeah, we've got some like anonymous surveys going out, and like people are giving good feedback. and asking
What have you
questions.
learned about the culture side of growing the business so far?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard, especially in transition. Again, when we were like growing really fast, it was
Yeah,
like there was
clear
no, there was no
product,
problems.
clear
We had
things,
one
yeah.
product, growing super fast. It was just like all hands on deck, like super fun. And things start to slow down. We start to work on a second product. We've got half
Division
the
of
team over
labor.
here. People are like, is this the bad product and this is the good product? Is this the old product and the new product? And I'm like, no, they're both just products that our customers need.
Yeah.
And, but I've got to communicate that over and over and over and over again. Where we had people, on the current social proof notification product that are like, they finally came out because we were having this conversation. It's like, what's going on, guys? And someone was like, I'm kind of worried that we're going to get fired. I'm like, fired? Like, no, if anything,
we're busy. We need more people.
But it's kind of like, I hadn't told him recently that you're good. Like,
This is important.
Like, because I'm just thinking, dude, like, I'll let you know if you're going to get fired. Like, we'll have that conversation. But like, until then, don't. But I think,
isn't that funny? Like, most founders, once they hear or learn something, it's locked in until something changes. But for employees, if it's too long since the last time they heard it, then they can, like, it's almost like, I don't know, my wife, she wants to hear often about how much I appreciate
totally
her.
What I think about.
I needed to just hear it once this week, and I'm good to know that unless I do something different, we're good. And
exactly that.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think that's the biggest frustration as a leader is the amount of time you have to repeat yourself just so that you can get people feeling good and making the right decisions.
Yep. And I'm thinking about stuff, 24 hours a day in my head, and I'll go back and forth for 6 months, and then I finally release it. And I expect them to be fully up to speed the same way I have. And I've been thinking about it for a year.
Different variations, different paths, like all this context that they're just like, he just made a decision.
Yeah, totally. And so I've got to let them
unpack
come
it.
up to speed. I've also got to build more trust, which was like they kind of ultimately trust me. And I think it's been challenging, but really good. I've got a lot to learn, and I've learned a lot about how to communicate and how to lead the team. And I think right now, as we kind of launch a new product, I'm just telling them, just hold on. It's going to be okay. Like, in 6 months, when we're making tons of cash and this thing's, doing the same thing Proof did.
Yeah.
Like, we're going to be in great shape.
Do this. Yeah.
But it's like, just hang on in the interim. Because I know that's going to be a little bit tough.
What's your approach to, we're at TNC. There's a bunch of, silver, shiny objects. You're a talented marketer. How do you decide when to evaluate versus stay the course, and how have you guys thought about that from a marketing point of view? Because that's what I've always admired about you is your guys' marketing skills. It's part of your DNA. You guys did it really well, or do it really well.
Yeah, honestly, I've kind of stepped out of a lot of the day-to-day marketing. I've just got people that are a lot better than me at it. So, Austin Distel and Austin Troyer and Ben Johnson, these 3 guys, they're just really great team, and they love all that stuff and geek out. And I had to have a conversation with them a year ago to be like, listen, I know how to do this stuff, but today I'm officially giving it to you. You don't have to run everything by me. And that was a big conversation. I saw them step up in a huge way after that conversation to be like, okay, we're going to go take on all the marketing. And so for me, honestly, I don't spend a ton of time thinking about the tools and the strategies and the bots and all those different kinds of things. I kind of send information to them and say, I try to connect them with people, say, hey,
you'll learn something. You'll be like, hey, I'm not trying, because this is the other thing I find about leading teams is even just the act of sharing something sometimes comes off as a directive.
Totally. I'll read an article and I'll just put it in someone's Slack message, and they think they have to
priority
everything in the
priority.
And so I have to say all the time, or somebody emails me, cold email, a tool I think kind of looks cool, and I forward it off just to say, hey, check this thing out. I've had to start saying hey, I haven't read this and I don't know anything about this, and I don't care if you do it or not. Because all of a sudden they'll just hop on the call with the rep, because they think that Dave told them to do it.
Yeah.
It's no, I'm just sharing some
sales
things.
demo.
I'm just
what
sharing
are you
some
talking
things that I
about?
think are cool.
Yeah.
So I've had to learn how to temper the directions and say, okay, this is something I really care about.
Yeah.
This is something I don't care about almost at all, but I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah. So you give some context to the sharing.
Yeah.
What did you learn at YC that most people wouldn't know from the outside? What are some kind of, a lot of people want to apply, thousands of people every year. You went through it. What are some non-obvious things that you
Some
feel?
of the lessons.
Yeah, lessons, and just the structure, how it works, how you thought it would work versus how it did work.
I thought it would be a lot more college. I thought it would be a lot of classes or whatever. But really, it's 4 hours a week.
And don't they encourage you not to share houses with other YC companies?
Yeah,
so you
they
guys
don't
kind
want
of
you to work in a co-working space. They don't have
they just want you to go away, and every week you guys have a weekly thing, right?
Work for 160 hours straight. Come back, learn a little bit more, go back out, apply it all, come back, get a quick tune up. That's really the model for them. And they're most of the work, you need to be writing code and talking to customers. We don't know your business. we're not your customer. We don't know the answers. We can give you some pointers, but like your customers will like pull the product out of you if you're talking to them and building products for them. And so it's really just like 4 hours a week that you go do that. And that was,
what's the format of those 4 hours?
so you go and we have like a group session. We're kind of in, I don't know, we're in group 4, and it's like kind of like a.
How many groups were there?
I think there was 5.
Okay, so
there was
they're pretty
100.
big
There was
groups.
150 companies in our batch.
150 companies.
150 companies.
So
there's
300,
like 400, 300 founders, something like that.
Damn.
Dude, and this batch, I think was over 200 companies.
Oh my gosh.
So it's getting huge.
Wow.
I think they're just looking at the math and thinking,
it's
we
the
could
law.
be making fistfuls of cash if we had more people.
Yeah.
So they're like trying to blow it up right now.
Wow.
But we do like this like group conversations. We had like 2 like group mentors that would kind of like give feedback.
Was the size of it one of the things that was like, oh shit, there's a lot of people here. Like, let's not get lost in the noise.
I'd say we did kind of get lost. It was like, we didn't really meet a ton of people. You know, the group partners were cool, but I didn't like, I'm not like best friends with them. Or like, you know, I'm probably not
just
I'm
another
not gonna,
company.
like, text them. It's like super helpful, but like really, I think for us, it was just a matter
And how
of
long
like
were you there
bringing
for?
the team,
3 months?
3 months.
Yeah.
It was just a matter of bringing the team out
Together.
living in this house for 3 months and just building.
Yeah. I mean, you're
That's what Y
you're
Combinator
front
was.
loading a year in 3 months.
Exactly.
Like
That's
160
the
hours.
benefit.
Yeah. So it's the
And-
forcing function of bringing everybody together.
That combined with, I
The
think,
demo day timeline.
well,
like
I think that combined with the people you're talking to think so big. You can't bring your little piddly ideas to them. Like, you can't go and be like, I'm just trying to like get a webinar funnel up. They'd be like,
what?
Like they have an office hours with Paul Buchheit.
Yeah.
You know him?
Yeah, Gmail dude.
Yeah. And he sits down. It's called like the $100 billion. It's like he's like, how do we create a company that's worth $100 billion someday? And it's just this like brainstorming exercise, just to kind of get you thinking bigger. And you start like
about
having ideas.
markets
He
and
kind of
problems.
looks at your company and he's like, I think that could be it, or I think that could be it. And obviously he doesn't know, but it's just like you leave there and like you don't care about webinar funnels anymore. You're like, how do we like achieve this huge vision? So I think that was really big for us because it was just so normal to talk about like $100 million ARR.
Yeah,
it's
it's
like
funny
normal.
now that you said 100 billion. 100 million ARR seems
Well, it's nothing.
Nothing.
Totally, it's just like a
I don't
little
want to
blip on
talk.
the
I want to
radar.
talk billion now.
Yeah. So I think for me, that was a big part of it.
Yeah.
We left like really empowered to be like, we can go do
I
this.
think, I mean, you mentioned mentors and communities and stuff. I think that's probably the biggest benefit of that peer proximity, like just making you think bigger. Once you do it, you can't go back, right? Once you experience it, you can't go back. It's kind of like that, you know, it expands.
Yep.
What do you think? You know, there's a lot of people watching that are, 10 million ARR plus, and other guys just kicking it off, trying to get things going. What do you think is the future of SaaS as we know it in regards to how people are going to buy? Like, where do you see the market going? Maybe at because you probably have more experience at the kind of the SMB mid-market level. What do you think is going to change over the next?
I think what is happening at a consumer level, like you open a consumer app, you open Robinhood, it's just this like amazing experience.
Simple, yeah.
It's delightful, super fun. Like you come to expect that on like an iPhone app, but then like you kind of log into like these business apps, like the web apps, and you know, it's not as good. Or, you know, again, I haven't even seen a lot of like enterprise apps. Like you log into some of them and it's like, this is like really not that well designed.
Yeah.
And I think now as the market's like flooding with like more and more SaaS, it gets easier to build. Like you've got to build B2B, like consumer grade apps. They have to be
from
really
a user
well
experience
designed.
point of view.
Yeah, from user
speed.
totally. Like you can't.
Micro copy. I feel like so many of these things
Exactly.
are not thought
All these things, your empty states, like what does the screen look like? You know, it's like
Yes.
these are things that like I just don't think B2B has done well or even needed to do well.
Yeah.
But now like we have 100 competitors to proof. They're popping up every
Is
day.
there really that many?
I don't know.
There's a lot.
It's probably a lot more than I even
Yeah.
know about. I mean, there's at least probably 30.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, they're good products.
Yeah.
You know, it's really hard to compete feature for feature.
Yeah.
Like I got some squad in India can go and just clone our whole product in like 3 months. And so like you're not gonna win there. You're gonna have to win in like brand and the entire experience and like
And what are you doing for that? What do you guys think?
I think Scale or Die, the podcast is a big part of that. You
Yeah.
know, how do we kind of build brand and build personality and like let people in?
Yeah. And what companies do you look at that are doing that well?
I've been
So
studying,
I think
I've been studying,
MailChimp.
I've been studying Drift a lot recently.
Yeah. I mean, the books. They're just
Yeah, I like those
executing the
guys a
play.
lot. You know, I think
Yeah.
we've kind of learned and like studied, like built our podcast a little bit off of, you know, Seeking Wisdom, what they're doing there.
Yeah.
I think Intercom does this really well. And I think they've got a very like person friendly type brand. Yeah, MailChimp. You know, I don't use them, so I'm not as familiar with them.
Man, they were the pioneers.
Yeah.
Wufoo.
Yeah.
Wufoo was early days, just like adding personality in the product. Basecamp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think we're trying to get back to that. I think we kind of like, we're like way out there in like info marketing land and like very like, you know, lots of videos and everybody knew me. We kind of like came back. We're like, we're going to be a software company. We're going to be like Blue and like, you know, look enterprise and like pull all the personality back. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is killing us. Like, so this year we're like going like way
So you
back
actually did that. You felt that, and you and I'm assuming you enjoy this.
Yeah.
So you don't do this, and all of a sudden it's like, why are we doing that? Let's add the personality back into the product.
Totally. Like, let's do what we were already doing. And it's just like, you know, I can do this. I probably don't love it. Like, I don't want to be the guru. I don't love that. I'm not. But it's like I can do that.
Yeah,
I know a lot of people
and it sounds like
can't.
you're the double win is you get great content for your customer base and or potential customers, and you get mentoring from people that you want to hear from.
It's amazing.
Yeah,
it's like total freebie.
Yeah,
like I just get to do this. It's like I can connect with people that I couldn't connect with before.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
so I think, man, platforms are important. Even with TNC, I've watched Ryan, Dice over the years, and I mean all these speakers. I mean, these are people you wouldn't be able to get connected with at that scale, at that speed, because you're able to write a big check to have them come speak. Well, they're not going to just run off stage and leave. You get to hang out. You get to know them. You're the person. You're the connector. I do it through founders dinners. We had a lunch yesterday with a bunch of SaaS founders. I just think that it's a really cool way to create value and connect. But the branding, so what about customer support? What else are you guys doing to kind of differentiate that's non-product specific?
Yeah, something that customer support's a great touch point. This is kind of related to your question, but something we started. We used to have like customer support be 3 people. Try to make it as cheap as possible. And outsource
how many tickets do they close? Yeah.
Now the entire team does customer support.
That's
all of our
huge.
engineers, all the co-founders, everyone does customer support. And we do these customer support power hours, what we call them. So it's about 1 to 2 hours once a week. You get together with like 5 people, and you all just like hammer away and like support customers and share information, share learnings. And that's been huge for us because now like everybody's thinking about the customer. The engineers. It used to be like customer support would tell a product manager who would write up some tickets and tell the engineers, and it was just like too far away.
Layers, yeah.
And so we're just like, no, forget all that.
And the engineers are not responsible for the crap code they put into production.
Totally, they never see it.
Yeah, they never see it. They never see the repercussions.
So now it's like, hey, this thing's broken. It's like, great, you built it. Hop into Intercom. You're going to like hop on the phone with this person. You're going to fix that. And then they like write cleaner code. But also they just see things that customers want and just like bang it out real quick. So I think that's been actually like a huge shift in just how we build products, but also like how our customers relate to our company. It's like you get everyone. And like, I'm in there once a week, helping customers. It's like everyone is in there doing this. I think it's created like a more like people and customer centric culture.
So it helped with the culture.
Totally.
And on that note, you brought everybody to Austin. I'm assuming everybody's in Austin for the most part, except for your
Ryan.
Why is that different from before in your previous companies?
We were in Annapolis, Maryland, and we had done the remote thing, and I like the remote thing, but we're just not good at it. I'm like an in-person person. We want to play basketball with the team afterwards. We want to like have them over for barbecue. Like we just want to like.
So you do play basketball?
I do.
The tallest man in
SaaS.
SaaS.
Tallest man in SaaS.
I was like,
I play basketball. Do you play basketball?
No, I shouldn't. I don't play.
He used to be the tallest man.
Yeah, one of my team members, Michael, he plays squash. I keep joking I'm going to kick his ass, and I found out he just won a tournament, so I stopped saying it. I still say it. I just don't want the game to happen so that he actually knows. So
but we really want to build a team locally right now.
Yeah,
and we want to have everybody in Austin. We're way better there. The people that are with us are way happier than people that have been remote. And man, we just do a lot better there.
It's really just knowing what you. I mean, that's the thing about business is that for many aspects of it, it's really creating a place, an organism, a structure where you get to do your best work. And if you know that about yourself, that you're way better in person, and I think that's the funnest part about building a business. So here's a question that comes up a lot about exiting or selling. What's your thoughts on building to exit versus just like build? Because you're obviously putting a lot of time and energy in trying to build a great product, but you've raised money. What's your Where's your headspace
Yeah.
at around that?
I'm kind of split on that. I mean, I inherently like understand like building something to sell. Like it's how we think of our product. Like
Yeah.
we don't just build a product. Like we build it to sell it. And
Yeah.
like that's the whole purpose. And
Yeah.
I think companies, it's totally fine to do that. I think we've kind of shifted to a place where we used to be like, okay, let's like build this thing and sell, to more of let's build a place that we want to come to every single day. And that will become a really big company because I'll be able to do it for 80 years if I need to.
Yeah.
Because like, I can do it forever.
Yeah.
And then when that acquisition comes or when the sale comes, it's like, that's going to be really hard for me to leave. So I'm going to get a much better price from that.
Yeah, because you're not going to want to sell.
I'm not going to want to sell, which is a great place to be.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I think we've kind of been like, let's just build a company that we love. And then whenever we sell, it'll obviously be even better than that and be a really good thing.
Yeah.
But I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I mean,
You
you've
know,
gone through that cycle.
Yeah, no, I've gone through it. I think what I've learned is for certain, if you get it right, then the thing you're doing is the destination. So a lot of, you hear this, man, all the time, right? Journey, destination, it's the journey. And it takes a few times or enough time in business to realize like, oh, the part I enjoyed the most was actually the problem solving. So people are like, oh, it's so hard right now. It's like, yeah, but you want it to be hard because you don't get to learn or grow when things are, as expected. So I almost feel like if you spend all the time and energy building the environment that you love, exiting to then, and this is a conversation I had with Chris at Wistia. We were just there in Boston. I brought my JFDI group to sit down because they did something that not few, Buffer did it, where they actually bought their investors back. They went and raised debt equity. You can all go online to read the article post they did, because they realized that if we sold, and they could have sold, that him and his co-founder would just start doing something similar space as Wistia, and in the same area with the same kind of people. And it's like, well, if we're going to do this anyways, why don't we just buy out our investors so they get what they need and keep doing it? And I think your mindset is the right way to approach it regardless, is design it as if you're going to do it for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And then by doing that, create optionality and evaluate that optionality as it comes in for what it is. And just try not to get distracted. You know what I mean? But
yeah, I agree. I had the same thought about Proof. Like if I sold Proof today, what would I do tomorrow? Like I'd start Proof.
And
like
and this is the key, all the work that you've done around culture and team, et cetera. Dude, I've done it. Starting from zero is just it's no fun. It's like I've got to rebuild the team. I gotta go through all of these decisions again that honestly I don't want to make because I've already made them before, but they're with a new team and a new product and a new customer base, and there's always like this momentum. That's why like the early days are the hardest. And I wish people could understand like year kind of 5 onwards, if you can get product market fit and you get to scale, I mean, it becomes super duper fun because the problem is not this like low hanging trying to figure it out. It's actually like really big, cool needle movers around people and leadership and culture and, even impact and community. I have a lot of clients that I coach and they get to decide what local charities, because once you're big enough, you've got like the Death Star and you're like, what do I care about? What do we care about as a company and really have local impact? And I think that, the business is just a vehicle for that stuff.
Yeah.
And so building to sell, I feel like people micro optimize in the early days for stuff that isn't important and isn't hard and not interesting, only to find out they never get to actually reap the benefit of those decisions because getting an exit is not.
And we love the people side. Like we love the team. Like it's kind of who like the 3 of us as co-founders are. And so like we really get excited about
Dude, I was so
building that team.
sad with my so Ethan, my co-founder at Flowtown, I was so bummed that I came up with Clarity nights and weekends because we had an earnout and I decided to leave to go do that. We were bummed because imagine if you sold and then you were running out and then one of you decided to go do something else and you're like, well, that means for sure we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
That we agree. We gave each other 1% of our companies for the rest of our lives.
That's cool.
Yeah. So I have 1% of Digit and he has 1% of my coaching business, which he gets a distribution check. And it's just fun because it at least keeps us connected the way co-founders, right? What's new, what's exciting, and just, I don't know. It's a way to solve that. But Dave, it's been incredible watching your journey, your rise, seeing what you're doing now. Obviously, it's still early. I can't wait to see because I don't even know what you're working on next. But we had
should be good. It's always so exciting at the beginning, though. It's like we're gonna take over the world with this. Then you launch it,
dude. There's like these 2 humps, right? There's the before it's released to the world, and then it comes down a bit, and then it's when you finally figure it out. But I'm excited to see it and appreciate you. And for the podcast, Scale or Die, everybody's got to go check it out, subscribe, download it. You guys can hear Dave get some coaching from some of the smartest SaaS guys out there. And can't wait to see how everything turns out.
Love it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, man.
Absolutely, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for watching this episode of Escape Velocity. Be sure to like and subscribe and leave a comment with your biggest insight from our conversation. Be sure to check out the next episode.